Red Minus, Psychic Pebbles, Joe, Speederoo, and Gooseworks, all creators that likely evoke a strong reaction from you hearing their names. Negative or positive, it doesn't matter. Just a mention of their name likely makes you think of something you strongly associate with them. However, none of them you would truly call a Lolcow, would you? I mean, even for as unhinged as Joe has been online recently. And with my thumbnail, I'm sure most of you would be quick to assume I'd lump Vivziepop in with any Lolcow of the week, and want to rush to the comments to say the usual.
Just cool it with the Vivziepop remarks.
But hear me out. The internet has a strange way of turning certain people into sideshows. Whole communities and channels exist just to pick apart creators, influencers, or anyone who reacts in a way that fuels more mockery. To those who don't know, that's where the term Lolcow came from. It's shorthand for someone who intentionally or not is milked for the lulz. They're mocked, provoked, and laughed at. And the more they react, the more the cycle continues. These people are typically considered somewhat successful only insofar as the fact that they get paid for more people to make fun of them on a daily basis. But the question I want to ask today is Vivziepop truly a Lolcow? But before that, be sure to like the video and comment below. Do you think Vivziepop is a Lolcow? I ask this as I've actually seen it several times come up in comment sections of videos I've posted. Vivian Medrano, better known as Vivziepop, is the creator behind Hazbin Hotel and hellaverse. She's one of the most successful independent animators to break into the mainstream of television in recent years, with Hazbin Hotel going from YouTube pilot to full-blown Amazon Prime series. That alone makes her a huge figure in online animation, but it all puts her in the firing line of endless criticism, drama, and ridicule. And there's the fact that while popular, her show is often criticized for pandering to kids who want to feel mature just because of sex jokes and swearing, something she aggressively insists online was never her intention. Also, her shows are musicals, so already banned kid haters are gonna be on your ass. So it's a bit of an understatement to say that Vivziepop is a bit of a polarizing figure online. I mean, you just look up her name and you get thousands upon thousands of videos about her drama cataloged online. Hell, if you're familiar with my channel, you'd know I'm no stranger to this. And for as much as I criticize Vivzi, I personally have never wished for her downfall. And yet, many do believe she deserves every bit of clowning she gets online. Some even consider her a Lolcow, as I mentioned. But is this even true? Well, first things first, we have to address the elephant in the room. Vivziepop has a tendency to make herself look bad online. In mine and many others' opinion, she's a bit too extremely online for her own good. Whether it's responding to criticism, reposting posts that clap back at her haters, or directly addressing fan memes she doesn't like, Vivzi has a pattern of reacting in ways that draw far more attention and not less. And to some, that justifies her being labeled a Lolcow, someone unable to resist responding even when silence would serve them better. God knows I'm no stranger to this dynamic, because just last month I found myself indirectly in Vivziepop's crosshairs. She made a post on Blue Sky in response to my thumbnail, which used the "What if Vivziepop wrote this" meme. From my perspective, it was a lighthearted, purposefully out-of-date, harmless meme meant to highlight how Fixed leaned into raunchy humor and edginess, something I still felt had merit, just like I do with Vivzi's own work, even if I don't like all of it. But instead of engaging with the video itself, she seemed to interpret the thumbnail as a personal attack and spiraled into a broader rant about people like me being awful. Now, to her fans, this response probably felt justified, defending a creator they admire from what looked like ridicule, but to anyone outside of that bubble, it came across as less righteous anger and more like she's been baited into a meltdown over a relatively small jab. To be clear, I never directed my audience to brigade her or send hate in any way, and I didn't take her post personally either. I just simply made a post about how I found it funny that I finally was on the other end of one of her random moments of lashing out online. At the end of the day, she's a human, and I could understand why she'd feel defensive. Still, it was telling to see how a small meme could snowball into an online blow-up, one that arguably made her look worse than the original joke ever did. It's moments like this that are only a small fraction of how she acts online. This was just the first time it was directed at me, someone whose video barely even scratched past 16k views, which is kind of laughable when you realize she has videos that push up to millions of views, and yet she found my stupid clickbait thumbnail thumbnail something she absolutely needed to make a thread about online. But here's the thing about Lolcow culture. It's built on cycles of provocation and reaction. People poke fun at someone online because they know they'll react in a way that's entertaining. And Vivziepop's hot-headed nature makes her a perfect target for this. Like some of her own characters, she is fiery, emotional, and impulsive. And if I was a much more distasteful creator, I would probably make a video that would completely frame this as, yeah, she's absolutely a Lolcow, go and harass her. She shit on my thumbnail, therefore she deserves it. But no, not really, I don't believe that at all. Unfortunately, the internet eats that up. Screenshots spread, clips get shared, threads blow up. Suddenly it's not just about the content she makes, but the spectacle of Vivziepop melting down over whatever issue has come to her attention that she has to react to. But does this actually happen often? Not really. Here's where I think the label of Lolcow falls apart. Unlike genuine Lolcows, Vivziepop isn't imploding online often. She's not some tragic figure endlessly self-sabotaging in public. She's not alienating her audience or destroying her career through posts. Quite the opposite, actually. She's building an animation empire, even in spite of Z-grade YouTubers like me who make videos criticizing her. Hazbin Hotel went from a YouTube pilot to an Amazon Prime series with an international audience. Hellaverse continues to rack up tens of millions of views on YouTube. She runs a studio, employs a team, and maintains one of the biggest fandoms in indie animation history. That's not a Lolcow, that's a success story. Even if she is kind of problematic within that scene, of course, as you'll find that is the subject of many video essays on YouTube already. However, that's not the purpose of this video. Most Lolcows are known for being constantly online making reactions to things. And while yes, she's reactive online, to the point where she'll confidently post something completely untrue, like recently claiming that Seth Rogen was voicing Connor O'Malley's Silly Samuel in Smiling Friends Season 3, only to walk it back moments later with a comment that she might be wrong. That's the level of knee-jerk reactivity she shows online. Girl has next to no restraint when it comes to tweeting. She sometimes even makes herself look silly by engaging with criticisms that are honestly beneath her, like my own videos, but that doesn't negate her accomplishments. It just means she's a human, a cringy human who's very online, and sometimes too quick to anger, but still a human. I'd like to imagine when she makes those posts, she's probably just in the bathroom in between doing actual work that makes her millions, so no, she is not a Lolcow. And I honestly think the label of Lolcow itself is pretty harmful. Entire communities exist to stalk, mock, and dehumanize people under this banner. They turn living, breathing creators into caricatures whose only role is to be laughed at. We've seen this in play with people like Gothic King Cobra, someone who for all his flaws built a genuine online presence but ended up relentlessly harassed and picked apart. If you've never seen this documentary, I highly recommend it. Dude was basically just any number of people you knew from your small town that never escaped. He didn't deserve to be relentlessly coaxed into an early grave. That's why I don't think Vivziepop deserves the title. I've never hated her. I've never made content to tear her down, personally. Even my critiques have been about how her shows could appeal to more people outside of her fandom, not simply about attacking her as a person.
Fat pigs.
Oh, I think I recognize that.
Fat pigs. Fat pigs. This guy on the end here, look at this fat pig.
Because once you strip away the drama, she's just a creator who gets too caught up in online discourse, like many of us do. So is Vivziepop a Lolcow? No. Vivziepop is not a private citizen who's been forced in the spotlight due to websites like Kiwi Farms or any other YouTuber. She's in fact a rich public figure with lawyers and protection. She just willingly chooses to give in to her worst tendencies online. The internet might love to poke fun at her, but the reality is she's thriving in a way that most indie animators could only dream of. But that said, at the end of the day, just as Vivzie could benefit from listening to constructive criticism about her shows, she could also stand to improve her behavior online. Doing so for both would make it easier for people outside of her bubble of influence to appreciate her works. I say this as someone who enjoys her shows for what they are, but also feel a bit pushed away by her inability to adapt and improve how she acts online, especially with being indirectly targeted by her Blue Sky account. But what do I know? Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you next week.